Okay.
Sweet. So I'm here with my good friend Darryl Edwards, British.
Yes, I'm the one with the British accent. What are we going to chat about?
I want to hear about your background. What brought you to Primal Play? What you were doing before that? I think there's a common assumption that you were an athlete before, but I know that's not really true. So
Not the case at all. So I mean, in terms of Primal Play, I mean, I basically teach people how to have fun with fitness, enjoy movement as we all experience as children. So that kind of fun, engaging, playful, youthful, invigorating movement that all children, should undertake. I'm trying to bring that back. I'm trying to get adults to find that inner child.
yeah,
And so with some of my demonstrations, sometimes people believe that it's just about the fun aspect. It's playing games, just having fun, laughing and joking, and it isn't very serious. But there's an aspect of Primal Play which is really serious, which is about humans' ability to master a whole series of movement patterns, to become generalists of movement. So we should be naturally strong and mobile and flexible
and I can tell you it is a workout. I was surprised at how it was just playing around yesterday, but man, I was.
The body lets you know that it's a challenge to maintain this kind of play state, and no other animals exercise as an option. There is an option for exercise in the rest of the animal kingdom, right? They will just either do the movements that they need to do to get food, or they'll play, right? That's what they will do.
Yeah.
They'll spend time playing, and as humans, we tend not to play very much, especially as adults. So that's what kind of Primal Play is. That's what's behind Primal Play. And when I do demonstrations, oftentimes people can be astounded at the stuff that I do, or some of the games that I'm playing where it appears that I'm a lot stronger than the person opposite me who looks, twice as strong as I do. So people assume that I've always been involved in athleticism, that maybe I was a jock, played lots of, did track and field or something like that. And the reality is, no, I was a geek, I was a nerd, I was a computer programmer from the age of 8 years old.
Oh really?
Back in the 70s, I had a home computer, and I realized it did more than play games, and I wanted to learn how this machine worked. So I got into computer programming at a very young age, and that's what I did my degree in. That was my career for 20 years or so, was in software, in technology. I worked for Microsoft back in the 90s. I then got headhunted by an investment bank, and I worked within investment banking until I quit and decided to do what I do now. So I think the lesson from that for me is recognizing that I was a formerly very weak individual, because one, I wasn't given the opportunities to get stronger. I wasn't testing myself and my ability to see how physically literate I was. And so I was performing, even in day-to-day tasks, suboptimally. So for example, I was suffering from chronic low back pain for 20 years or so. I used to wear knee supports because my knees would kind of give way taking the stairs.
And you're a big guy too, how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Yeah,
so I'm 6'4", so to be in pain just walking for no reason at all, I mean, that in itself is alarming. In your 20s and 30s, and you're being told you're gonna have to have a knee replacement operation, and it wasn't because I was playing sport. It wasn't because I tore a cruciate ligament because I was playing football or soccer or whatever. It was just because I was not moving. I was sedentary for most of my adult life. So you pretty much start to decay.
So what was the switch
happens
for you?
The switch was having a health assessment and being told I was suffering from all these kind of early stages of chronic lifestyle disease. So everything from hypertension, high blood pressure. I was pre-diabetic. I had a really poor lipid profile, so high triglycerides, very low HDL, high LDL, lots of issues. I mean, a whole series of tests run, and it all came back with, Darryl, you need to take lots of meds. Statins for your cholesterol issues, metformin for you to manage your blood glucose. Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous.
And you started off that way on the meds, and then
I didn't start on the meds. Thank goodness. No, I'm scared of medication.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the side effects, I should say.
Yeah.
So
Did you know I used to be a pharmacist?
No, I didn't know. Okay, so
until my injury.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why I'm
scared.
Oh
yeah. No, I hear you.
meds.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, of course, I wanted to get better. I wanted to be fixed.
Yeah.
And so I'm not anti-medicine at all.
Yeah. You would have been my ideal patient. Like that's what I hoped for in my practice, was to be able to educate people on the lifestyle changes that they can make so that they didn't need to take medications. And I thought that was the perfect thing. I thought that that's what your ideal pharmacist was, but the problem is that like patients don't want to take responsibility for their health most of the time. So it's really good that I like the way that you're inspiring people to reach out and grab their health.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the difficulty is, I mean, in some respects, I had an early warning. So, if I had full-blown diabetes, if I had a heart attack, if I had, do you know what I mean? Like, if I had a stroke or something like that, if I had something far more serious occur, then I may not have had, taken the same sort of actions, because I might have gone, well, it's just too late now. I'm scared of it happening again. Just give me the pills. But when I was being told about this cocktail of meds, and me thinking, I'm going to be that one guy who will take this and probably have some sort of complication. I just remember having this recollection of being told that blood pressure, so just the blood pressure alone, that if you're physically active, you're less likely to suffer from hypertension. So I was just like, okay, at least one of these things I know I can probably do a better job of dealing with this, because I'm sedentary, 16 hours a day minimum at a desk. So if I just move more, maybe that will sort out my blood pressure. And I remember the doctor telling me that it's genetic. I had close family relatives who had high blood pressure, but I was also like, I'm in a stressful job. That probably doesn't help.
Right.
Plus I'm not moving.
Right.
So let me try moving a bit more. Then I read some research on blood glucose. You're in a much better position if you're active, right? So I was like, maybe I can control my pre-diabetes through movement. So those two things alone, I didn't know anything about cholesterol or the problems about triglycerides, but I knew movement would help with the first two issues. And within like 28, 30 days or so, my blood pressure came down to optimal. I was no longer pre-diabetic. And of course I was kind of like, well, this doesn't mean anything. Let me just continue with this and see if that continues to be the case. And it was. So my lipid profile became optimal as well. And I hadn't changed my diet at that point. This is purely movement.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about, okay, well, maybe I need to start focusing on body composition, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to focus on the quality of my food, because I was still eating, it's embarrassing to say, but sometimes my breakfasts were things like Snickers bars and Red Bull, right? And McDonald's at lunch. And so I was like, I know this can't be any good for me.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it wasn't helping you with your physical.
Yeah, and it wasn't helping. It definitely wasn't fueling
yeah.
the physical activity as well. So I initially tried calorie restriction at first, and that was incredible. Like, I leaned out. I had like my jawline was chiseled, like 10-pack out. But I looked really gaunt, because I was losing weight.
Right.
So I got to the point where I was like, if I lose any more weight, I just don't look healthy anymore. So I need to find a better way of doing this. So I tried a few different diets. Zone was the one I tried next, the Zone diet. But then I became neurotic because I was kind of weighing and measuring my food.
Not into that.
Like 9 almonds is okay, 10 wasn't. 100 grams of
this one's
steak,
broken, shoot.
is okay, but 110 not so much. So then I came across the paleo diet by Lauren Cordain about 2003. I read the book, and I was like, okay, there was a diet. The proposal was a diet that's appropriate for humans, the human species. So this goes to show it is actually alive. So basically I tried the paleo diet, and I've been on the paleo diet ever since. I can't even call it a diet really. I'm just doing paleo. I'm just eating in a way that I feel suits my physiology, that avoids processed and artificial foods, means I'm getting more nutrients from whatever I consume. So I'm not dogmatic about it. I don't have to question every food decision, but I have a greater awareness now of what works well for me, what can fuel my physical activity, and now I have a better appreciation that it isn't just one thing, right? The movement's important, nutrition's important, other lifestyle factors like sleep and managing stress and avoiding toxins, feeling like you've got a sense of purpose in life is also important. So now I found my passion, and my passion.
That changes everything.
Yeah, that changes everything for sure. So finding my passion, being able to share that with others is also important, because sometimes the messaging around living a healthier lifestyle can seem so complicated and convoluted, and you try something for a while and you go, oh my, yes, it's working, and then it may not be as effective as it was, and so you're constantly chasing something else. And when you think about some of the healthiest people on the planet, they're not constantly chasing for this kind of silver bullet, the elixir of life. They're kind of like, I enjoy my food, I don't overconsume, I keep physically active because I need to do that just to get by day to day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To go and walk to my neighbor, to go and work on the farm or whatever it is. They just enjoy life.
Yeah, when you get to a certain point, and this is a conversation I was having with Dallas Harwig last week, is that you get to a certain point of chasing that health, and then you're only going to get so many gains after that. Like, you can get to 80-90%, and then you're still pushing, and then it just becomes all encompassing, and you're putting all that effort in, you're not getting the same results. So at a certain point, you need to just balance things a little bit better, and just initially, you want to put that effort in, and you said not being dogmatic about your diet and stuff. Same, totally agree. But I think initially that can be really helpful, just to
for sure,
so that you can understand the changes that you're making and see those changes, and then from that understanding, then it's then you're able to just integrate that into your normal being.
Yes, I think it's important to
and then you
have,
can bounce out from there. But
you want to kind of break the back of the problem, right? If you're really sick, a moderate approach is unlikely to be beneficial.
Right.
When you think about what pharmaceuticals do, right? They have very powerful agents to enforce some sort of change. To whether it's usually suppression of symptoms, but they have very powerful agents to perform this work. And so with lifestyle, I don't think we should underestimate that we also sometimes need very powerful interventions. So there may be, you may need to adopt a very, very strict diet. You may need to undertake a really pretty, hard work approach to physical activity to overcome that kind of initial stumbling block, whatever that is. And once you break past that, then you can start finding and fine-tuning a way of making it sustainable. Because often those very short-term kind of 30-day plans of you can't do anything apart from this may not be something you can maintain.
Right. And
I think it's worse for you to do that very strict, then kind of bounce back to previous lifestyle habits, and then go, oh no, it's okay because next week I'm going to start being strict again, and you have these kind of peaks and troughs.
Right.
Better to
make a habit.
Yeah, make it a habit. Not follow it 100%, maybe follow it at 90%, at 80%, but have 80% consistency rather than 100%, 20%. So I feel I've found that kind of balance now, whereby my friends aren't embarrassed to invite me out to a meal because I'm not going to be questioning what they have on their plate, and because I used to be like that. Do you know what I mean? Initially,
well, when you're learning, right? It's just so eye-opening to yourself, and you want to share that with everybody else. And what were you doing this? Have you heard of this?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
You've got bread on your plate, you're killing yourself. So now I'm like, no, I'm thankful that no one, if somebody would have said to me when I started my journey, you have to do this, and this, you have to, I would have resisted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I needed that kind of self-curiosity to go, I need to do something different. I'm not really sure. Let me just have a look at what I can do. And so I appreciate that fact for somebody who's sitting across from me eating.
Right.
Why would I challenge what they're doing? They've made that decision.
That actually brings me to my next question. So I was curious, like, did you have any like key influencers during that journey for yourself, or anybody that was kind of guiding you through stuff, or was it
back
just
then? I mean, there weren't many people out there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm talking 2003. There weren't many blogs. There was like Art Devaney was pretty much the only one talking about kind of evolutionary stuff, especially evolutionary fitness. Actually, I got into CrossFit back then. Actually, who were very big on Zone around that time. So that's how I kind of came across Zone. So I suppose I was pre kind of paleo influencers, because I was doing paleo, and then several years later, the books came out, and the bloggers came out, and Rob Wolf came out, and Mark Sisson, and so no, it was just that one book, Long and Cordain. That was the book that kind of set all of this off, that made me consider evolution more. Before then I would have dismissed it. Who cares? Who cares if we were created, if there was evolution or whatever? I don't know if I have the answers in relation to that, but what I do know for sure is that the 21st century lifestyle, the fact that we're coerced or encouraged to be more sedentary now than before, because our desk jobs, because we can take great options for locomotion, public transport, we have lifts and elevators and escalators, so we don't have to walk anywhere. So because of this, food options available to us. When I was a kid, I mean, rarely would you have snacks, rarely would you be eating out. It was a once a week, once a month option for us to be eating out. You wouldn't see many people eating out on the street, like popping into a store and just eating something. You wouldn't.
There was a McDonald's wrappers all over the street.
Now we just have an environment that encourages us to seek out convenience, and our physiology tells us that's a really good thing, because normally it's hard graft, right? Normally getting food, if there's no access to food, is hard work. If you've got to hunt for food, or if you've got to farm and harvest food, that's considerably there's a considerable amount of physical exertion. So if you can just get food at the click of your fingers, click of a mouse, a 2-minute walk to your larder.
It's completely changed our motivation, right?
Exactly. And now foods are more hyperpalatable, right? They're designed, food scientists who will make sure that you have one bite and you want to eat more. They assess the textures and the crunch factor, and I mean, there are all these variables that they focus on to ensure you just want more, right? And you'll have a high level of satisfaction for a very, very short space of time, which will increase hunger. And so it's like, I want to eat more, I want to eat more, I want to eat more. So we're bombarded in an environment which means it's more difficult to make choices that are based on inconvenience. It's inconvenient to go and source food and to prepare it at home, and to find time to sit down and actually eat a meal with your family and have a conversation. That's inconvenient, because what you can do is just order in, stuff it down really quickly whilst you're communicating on social media. That's far more convenient. It feels more appealing to do something like that. So it took me a while to find my passion, because finding better health meant that I wanted to share it, and I wanted to share it with a bit of responsibility, because the only thing I knew about health was making sure computers were working okay, that they were healthy. That was, that's all I knew. So there had to be some responsibility around gaining knowledge in nutrition. So I became a nutritional therapist, I became a personal trainer. I had to learn about the body and anatomy and physiology, and work out what was going to be beneficial in terms of offering advice to my clients. And becoming a health coach, becoming a lifestyle coach. Yeah, I'm interested in
some of the details on that too. Like, did you have any influencers on that? Like the way that you approached, I guess, physical activity in general? Like, Because you said
yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. So I mean, I suppose the biggest influence in terms of physical activity initially was the movie 300.
Oh.
So I saw the making of
yes.
the movie 300.
Who didn't go to the gym like immediately after watching that?
Yeah. I was like, look at these guys, like, you know.
Yeah.
But what was more impressive about it was they had kind of very athletic physiques. You know, some of them were quite bulky, some not, but they had this kind of graceful, really functional way about them.
Like a big cat kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they weren't kind of like, you know, kind of big and bulky and like, you know, struggling to walk.
Yeah.
You know, they were like
really
fluid.
Yeah,
almost like kind of ballerinas, but jacked, right?
Yeah.
so I sought out some of the training videos, you know, and I found out who the trainer was, and you know, it was a guy called Mark Twite, who founded the gym Jim Jones, and he worked several years before with Greg Glassman of CrossFit, the founder of CrossFit.
Okay.
So he was he was like the number two, and he did a lot of work, and then they kind of parted ways, but then he continued his kind of ethos, and I was like, you train those guys, I want some of that.
Yeah.
So I started doing those type of workouts and had incredible results. I was getting stronger, getting fitter, but there was something about it which only appealed to me from the, you know, competitive, cutthroat type of approach to fitness, right?
Yeah.
So it was highly competitive. I just want to see constant improvement. I don't want to enjoy the process. I just want to enjoy the results.
Okay.
And it was reminiscent of my work in banking.
The competitiveness was more results, or was it like
results? It was all about
wasn't
results.
the workout itself.
No.
Oh, okay, all right.
The workouts were awful. I mean, painful. You know, you were close to throwing up. You know, nausea was a common occurrence. Like really pushing yourself to the hilt.
Yeah.
You know, constantly challenging yourself. And I wasn't an athlete. I mean, you know, after a while I was thinking, I'm not winning medals for this. I'm just boosting I'm winning points for my ego.
Yeah.
You know, I can say, I beat you.
Well, we tied yesterday.
Pardon?
We tied yesterday on tag.
I don't think so. I don't listen to him. If there's video evidence, yes. Otherwise,
I don't think there is.
well, I'll probably let him tie with me. But yeah, so I think after a while I realized it wasn't enough. The process needed to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
So there are times where I would start hating, like, oh, I've got to do a workout. Oh, I don't really like doing that. But I know if I do it, I'm going to get some good results, so I'll do it anyway. It got to the point where I was like, no, I'm not motivated to get off my armchair and do stuff. You know, I'm not having any fun with this. I'm only getting fun when I can tell people, hey, look what I just lifted. You know, but that was it. So that's how Primal Play came into being. I started going outdoors more rather than being in the gym. I started thinking climbing trees is going to be more fun than me doing pull-ups in a gym. You know, lifting other objects, you know, lifting people, you know, was more fun. Fireman carrying, piggyback carrying was more fun than me hoisting an Olympic bar overhead. It was as simple as that, to be honest. And then I started smiling when I was working out. Then I realized I wasn't working out anymore, I was playing out. Then I started thinking about the games I played as a child and thinking, wouldn't it be great to create versions of this that I want to play as an adult? Because I'm not a kid anymore.
So when I discovered Primal Play, I know it had already been going for a few years, but when I discovered it, I was kind of going through that same thought process and just thinking like that playfulness of kids movement is something that I was just missing at the time. So like when I discovered you, it was like just the perfect timing. But sorry.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, thank you. I mean, thank you for that. So I think many of us are craving. We know we need to play more, but we've either forgotten how to play, or we are seduced by what the 21st century tells us is playful for adults. So going for a drink is playful. You know, going to a nightclub, like. That tends to be what we assume play is about for adults, right? And the reality is, play should be identical to the play experience that we had as kids, but just in the context of being an adult. That's the only difference. You know, we don't have to be childish, but we should still be childlike. So a big cat can play with their offspring and have a lot of fun, and they will move differently to the youngsters. They won't have the same sort of springiness, and they won't have but they'll still be playing the same sort of games. They still recognize that it's a lot of fun engaging in that.
And it's creative as well.
And it's creative.
Yeah.
And dogs they like to chase each other, right? They like to play fight. Not just puppies. Like, adult dogs will also undertake this type of interaction, whereas for humans, we have to start thinking about structured sports. We have to start thinking about performance, aesthetics. That's what's important. The end result, the end goal, the overall transformation is what's important.
Right.
But the immersion, the instant gratification is put to one side.
Yeah.
Right? And can you imagine saying to a kid, any kid, if you do this physical task for 12 weeks, then you'll have achieved something. Let's play a game of tag which lasts 12 weeks, and then you'll have something that will come out of it. Wouldn't happen. They'll be like, no, I'm bored. No, 12 weeks is that's forever. Yeah. But so they choose games that will give them instant gratification. Like tag, they will feel great instantly, and when they're bored, they'll be like, no more tag, or they'll change the rules.
Right.
Or they'll go, let's play tag where if you climb a tree, you're safe for a while, or you've got to count to 10, or they're constantly
use your feet,
yeah,
crawling. Well, yeah, I mean we did that too.
They're constantly talking of thinking of ways to make it more fun and interesting and engaging and inclusive. Let's get other people to play this as well. It's so much fun. Yeah. So now I realize I am reclaiming my inner child. I am experiencing a lot of what gave me joy as a child, but now in an adult kind of vessel. You know what I mean? Because I do want to get strong. I do want to remain independent and functional as I get older, and I do want to have all of the health benefits of physical activity. I want all that stuff, but I also want to have some fun. And we spoke earlier about some of my journey of getting here. When I wanted to leave banking, I tried quite a few different ways of getting out. So I was a musician for a while, recorded an album, critically acclaimed album. So I didn't tell you this?
No.
But anyway, yeah. So
is that available?
Yeah, the album's still available. I was an artist called Glidoscope, Glideascope. I had a #1 video on MTV in Latin America.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nominated as one of the top 70 albums by BBC Radio 1 in the UK in 2005. I toured. Largest audience was about 3,000 people.
So what happened to that?
The record label went bust.
Oh.
Lost lots of money.
Man.
But the material's still available. So the good news is it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes.
Cool.
People are still buying it. But I pretty much left that world as soon as the record label went bust. Got disenchanted with that. Then I worked as a street magician for a while. I did that for some time. So I saw David Blaine, probably late 90s, one of his street magic videos, and I was like, I want to do what he does. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I want to do exactly what he does. So I started, getting mentored by people who are really good at magic. I became pretty good, got into mentalism, so got into kind of reading people's minds.
Really?
Doing his instant hypnosis and stuff like that. Did that for a while.
Is there any videos of that?
No, I wasn't. This is like kind of pre-smartphone, right? So there definitely would have been, but I was pretty good. I wasn't amazing, and I didn't get to the stage where I was making lots of money. I was doing it more for the fun of it.
Yeah.
So I'd go to bars and stuff, and I'd meet people and kind of do kind of cold readings. So where you're telling people how many siblings they have, like what, and knowing nothing about them. So no setups, and you start guessing people's names, and and of course you were never always right, but when you hit it, I even did it. I actually did it yes, I think a couple of days ago, and I was telling somebody about what I used to do, and I said to them, and they went, "What do you mean? You were talking about people's siblings, like mentioning people's siblings' names and stuff like that." And I went, "Yeah, for example, I associate Eve with you, right? And they were like, what did you say? I was, yeah. I says, Eve. I just feel Eve, right? And they was like, yeah, my sister's called Evelina or something like that. I mean, incredible,
Whoa.
right? And I went, yeah, see how easy it would be just on that basis. Because I said to her, don't tell me, don't give me any information,
right.
any feedback, but I'm just going to tell you, yeah, Eve, I just see Eve. And she's just like, oh my goodness, like, Evelina, yeah, it's my sister or best friend or something like that. And I went, yeah, based on that, I could definitely start to, I've already developed that kind of, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
There's no way he could guess that,
yeah.
right? So yeah, so there's lots of tricks
cool.
behind mentalism, as it's called. So I did that for a while, and then fortunately I found my true calling, which was what I do now. But all of those things that I did actually play a part in Primal Play, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. So the creativity that came about from composing music means that I have a way to channel that creativity now in Primal Play. So I have lots of imaginative games. I've created lots of movement patterns. I have lots of ideas in relation to that, and I think it comes from that background. The misdirection that comes from magic gets people to do stuff that they probably wouldn't feel comfortable doing, or you get to do things that they're paying attention to this, but actually the real work is happening here.
Right.
Yeah. So I use that in my coaching, methods to get people to achieve far more than they would normally do. So yeah. So now you know a little bit more.
Yeah. Can you tell me about because you've got a number of books.
Yes.
I'm only familiar with the Primal Play one that just came out,
yes.
which is great. But you had 2 more before, I think?
Yeah, so my first book was Paleo Fitness, first published book. Then I have a book called Paleo from A to Z. So if you want to know anything about paleo, the whole lifestyle piece, Paleo from A to Z is that book. And my latest book is Animal Moves. So that was released in April, and that kind of discusses how we should be training as humans. Like, we need to be influenced by the rest of the animal kingdom and become more generalists of movement.
And can I ask you about the next one?
I'm
excited about it.
No? It's not ready to be. No.
Okay.
But if you go to my website, primalplay.com, if you follow me on social media, there will be an announcement shortly.
Shortly?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
I am excited.
So you're one of the lucky ones. You're one of the handful that know. So you got to keep it.
Yeah.
Keep quiet.
Cool.
All right.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. For
too.
people who didn't know me before, hopefully you know me now, and you know a little bit more about my inspirations in terms of what I do. If you want to find out more, go to primalplay.com. It's really a great introduction to moving naturally and having fun with movement. Lots of evidence there, because I think sometimes there can be an absence of an evidence base when it comes to whatever we do, whatever we talk about. So you can find a significant amount of evidence there. And if you want to find out more from reading a book, then you can buy Animal Moves, and I have lots of online programs as well. So you don't need to come and see me in person or do one of my workshops, which Raj has done. He's done the online as well as in person. But yeah, so it's been a real pleasure.
I'm going to tack some links on there for people. And,
Great.
Something else to say. It's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Just on time,
I
so I
know.
think my session's now.
Is it cool if I post some of the videos from yesterday?
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Sweet.
that's fine. Yeah. No worries.
It's so fun. All right.
Precision jumps. So, when kids are jumping, it's very rare you will see kids do the equivalent of, say, box jumps in the gym, where they will do this sort of stuff to get in the game. They get bored very quickly. What they'll do is they'll create an environment. They'll say, here's a pit of stakes, and I need to jump from here to there. If I fall in, I will get bitten. I may die. And, I have to land right here, because there is, I'm on the Grand Canyon or whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm jumping onto a tightrope. So they take it seriously, even though they're playing, even though it's just visualization. They take it seriously, and they have to land there. So if they don't, adults will go, oh, I missed. They will say, I'm dead, I'm dying, I'm getting bitten. Todd, come on, help me, come on, pull me out. So they will imagine, they will play, they will create an environment which means there's some risk associated with activity. So pick a line, find a distance, it doesn't have to be too far. Only objective is to land on the line in a low squat position.